Hello friends, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me today. You're watching day 8 of our 12 Days of Christmas in July series. If you're just joining in, there is links in the top of the description so you can find the first 7 videos if you want to get caught up. If you notice that we're a little bit zoomed out today, it's because we are creating a slimline folio. And so I had intended to just make a slimline greeting card, and I've been making these for absolutely ages, way before it was even cool. But for some reason, as I was pulling out paper and images to work with, something took over my brain, and before I knew it, this whole card turned into a folio. So we've got a beautiful slimline card on the front, but there are also pockets with tags and tip-ins and loads of beautiful coordinating pattern paper on the inside. So stick with me and we will make this together. Here's the collection I'm working with today. This is Christmas Wonderland. I was very drawn to this collection for my project today because it had a variety of the journal cut apart cards that were a smaller size. So rather than 3x4, these are about 2.5 square, and that really gives me the opportunity to add them along with other layers for my pages, and that makes it more interesting, and I can incorporate more of these beautiful patterns. This is very traditional colors and sweet images. I'm using a combination of the journaling cards, the 12x12 paper patterns, and a few of the stickers, and we'll get into the book now. So this is really the easiest base that you're going to make. This is only one page of 110-pound cardstock, and I have cut it to be 9 by 8.5. So this came from an 8.5 by 11 sheet, and I just clipped off the top. I went in with my scoring tool and I scored it at 4 inches and then at 4.5. So I've got a book now with pages that are 4 by 9 and then a spine that is 1/2 inch. And by the way, if you still want to make this project as a slimline card, you can definitely do that. Just don't leave the space here in the spine for accommodating the bulk of papers inside, and then you've got yourself a slimline card. So let's work on the inside pages. So the nice thing about a folio is that there's only 2 pages inside, so this will be much easier to create and take up less supplies. So you can definitely make one of these in much less time than a regular mini album. So I'm taking my pattern paper here, that's a beautiful plaid, and it's got a border of red cardstock. I put my pocket on the back so that I'll have room inside for a couple different tags I'm going to incorporate, but now I can include this into the book. And I'll just line that up from the side and center it, and it's as easy as that. So our first base page is done. I've got a coordinating pattern to be on the front of the pocket, and I just cut that to measure inside this pocket front. That will also give it a little bit of extra stability. So for my first tag, this is a tall and skinny tag meant to fill in the space but still have a nice border of that gorgeous plaid around. So I've got my coordinating pattern here, very cute poinsettia with a Swiss sort of dot in the back, and then I'm using my 2.5 inch square journaling card. You can see now how really great that size is because it just works so well with the slim measurements of this folio. So now I can add this to the base of my tag, and then I'll tip that over and finish off the back with the coordinating pattern paper. You want all your tags to be nicely finished, both front and back. Also gives it a little bit extra stability. So here's my first tag. Let's tuck that inside and see how that looks. I think that is really sweet, and it gives you a little bit of extra room to add pictures and journaling. So my second tag is more of a folded insert. So it's just a top fold like a regular card, and then I put the pattern paper on the inside and the back, and I used one of the larger journal cards on that sheet to fill in this space. And so it's just a very sweet holiday image. I popped that up on foam adhesive so that it will have a little bit of dimension. Remember, we have some space in this spine, so we need to add enough on the inside to support that so it will hold its shape. And so here is my folded insert for this pocket, and I've measured them so that they both fit in here very nicely and you can enjoy both of the images at the same time. So let's work on the other page. I've got that same background again with that pretty plaid, and then I'm going to add the same polka dot and poinsettia for the top because you can see both of these pages open at the same time, and that just gives it a little bit more of a consistent look. I took the other larger journal card and put the same matting on. This time it is going to be a tip-in from the right hand side of the page, so I can incorporate that by sandwiching that flap in between the layers. And then I can add that to this side of the page. I picked a couple of small details to add to this card just to give it a little bit of extra interest. It's a die cut glitter star, and that works pretty well. It doesn't cover up any of the image or the sentiments. And a tag shape from the sticker set with an additional sentiment on top. And I'm just going to add that right there. While I'm at it, I can finish off the back. You want to make sure it has finished all the way around, and then I can work on the front cover. Here's my cardstock base, still working with that beautiful red, and I'm still also working with that poinsettia with the polka dot. This is going to be the background, and I've picked that plaid as my companion pattern for the front, and that's just going right down to the bottom. I've used my fishtail banner shape die with a stitched edge to create this banner shape, which helps to fill in a little bit of that space at the bottom, and then the blue pattern will set on top as a layering element. That's a nesting die, so I've got quite a few different sizes of this same shape. I've cut my doily or square with just regular white crisp cardstock. That will help to break up some of the paper patterns, and I'm going to add this star now because I want it to be in between the layers. So this is going to go right here and be the base for our focal image. So once again, I went with that 2.5-inch square image. This is so sweet. Some woodland creatures in a snowfall. It looks like they're in a forest, and I just clipped that down to fit nicely inside the shape of that square doily. For the top, I've picked a couple elements from the sticker sheet and added them to some cardstock and cut them back out so I could move them around and get them situated just where I wanted. I've also adhered them together with a tiny attacher. I want them to stay as one piece together, so I attach them first, and I'm just making sure to use that border at the top that's already there. I've got a sweet little glitter star to tuck in as well. I'll finish it with this smaller sentiment. This came from the sticker sheet as well, and I put those on the scrapbook adhesive spacers so they're not quite as dimensional. And that's just going right here. It's a good time to add this to the book base now before the more dimensional elements get added. And now for the fun stuff. Here is my flower arrangement that is created with the Spellbinders poinsettia die. I've got a combination of red, white, and blue poinsettias paired with some mirror cardstock skeleton leaves and some regular green foliage. There's a couple of loopy twine bows and a beautiful blue wrinkle ribbon bow here to fill in that corner. I've also added a second glitter star for this bottom corner, and I'm going to be very careful when I add that not to cover too much of my image. Here's a couple little metal charms. One has a deer and there's some bells. That was very festive and Christmassy. I'm going to add these now before I put my second bow on. Then I'll top it off with my second bow. So that's more of that blue wrinkle ribbon. I've got another loopy twine bow and a vintage button for the top. I'm just going to add that right here to cover the cut edge of that twine. Okay, last but not least, I have a couple of coordinating sequins to add, and this blue works beautifully with my cover here. So I'm going to pick 3 different sizes just to add a little extra interest and adhere them with my tombow. Okay, that's all for our project for day 8. If you enjoyed it, make sure you come back tomorrow for day 9. I will leave links in the description below so you can check out those trims from Really Reasonable Ribbon, as well as links to our social media sites. You can find us on Instagram, our blog, our Facebook, and our Etsy shop. It would be so kind if you would leave us a comment and a thumbs up. And if you're not already, I would love for you to subscribe. Don't forget to hit that bell notification so you will be alerted every time we add new content. And as always, I'm wishing you a happy and productive day, and I thank you so much for watching. Bye!